the ancient Greek myth of Narcissus. Greetings, dear viewers of our channel. Today, I'm going to tell you one of the most instructive and famous stories, the myth of Narcissus, a young man whose excessive love for himself became his tragedy. Let's dive into this fascinating world of ancient Greek culture. Ancient Greek myths are not only stories about gods, heroes, and monsters, but also profound moral lessons that remain relevant today. This myth is not just about a handsome youth who rejected everyone who sought his love. It also warns us about the consequences of excessive self-confidence and selfishness. Today, I will tell you this ancient Greek story, full of tragedy and metaphorical meaning. Who is Narcissus? Narcissus, the main character of the myth, was the son of the river god Cephissus and the nymph Liriope. From a young age, he stunned everyone around him with his beauty. His face was so flawless and captivating that even the gods acknowledged his attractiveness. However, his beauty became both his blessing and his curse. In his early childhood, when Narcissus's parents learned about his incredible beauty, they turned to the seer Tiresias. Tiresias was a famous blind prophet known for his wisdom and ability to see the future. They asked him what the future held for Narcissus and how long his life would be. Tiresias gave them a cryptic prophecy. Narcissus would live a long and happy life as long as he never saw his own reflection. This prediction sounded strange, but over time it proved to be the key to the young man's tragic fate. Narcissus and the nymph Echo. Narcissus's story intertwines with that of the nymph Echo, who also played a significant role in his tragic fate. Echo was one of the nymphs who lived in the forests and mountains. She was known for her exceptional beauty and talkativeness. However, she became a victim of the wrath of Hera, the wife of Zeus. Echo had helped Zeus conceal his affairs from Hera by distracting her with conversations. When Hera found out, she cursed Echo. Henceforth, the nymph could only repeat the last words she heard from others and could no longer speak independently. One day, Echo encountered Narcissus in the forest and immediately fell in love with him. She followed him, unable to speak first, as her ability to communicate was severely limited by the curse. When Narcissus, tired from his walk, stopped and asked, "Who's there?" Echo could only repeat, "Who's there?" This continued until she stepped out from her hiding place and tried to approach Narcissus. However, he scornfully rejected her. Heartbroken, Echo withdrew into the forest, where she gradually faded away, leaving only her voice, which still echoes in the mountains. Narcissus's curse. Narcissus was not only indifferent to Echo, but also to everyone else who tried to win his heart. Many nymphs and even young men sought his attention, but he always remained cold and arrogant. His egoism and disregard for others' feelings fueled intense resentment and anger in the hearts of the rejected. One of those who suffered from Narcissus's indifference was a young man who once prayed to the gods to punish him for his cruelty. Hearing this prayer, the goddess of retribution Nemesis decided to punish Narcissus. She orchestrated events so that he would one day come face to face with his own reflection, which would be his downfall. The tragedy of Narcissus. One sunny day, while wandering through the forest in search of water, Narcissus came upon a clear pond and bent down to drink. Suddenly, he saw his own reflection in the water. Narcissus had never seen himself before, and what he saw completely captivated him. He couldn't take his eyes off his reflection, so deeply struck was he by his own beauty. He fell in love with this image, thinking it was another being, as beautiful as himself. Narcissus spent hours gazing at the reflection in the water, trying to get closer, but whenever he touched the water, the image disappeared. He tried to speak to it, but the image did not respond. This overwhelming love for his own reflection consumed him entirely, and Narcissus stopped caring about anything else. The end of Narcissus. Gradually, Narcissus began to wither away from longing and hunger, unable to tear himself away from his reflection. His love for the unattainable image became his undoing. In despair, he finally realized that he would never possess the one he loved so much. Acknowledging his fate, he uttered his final words, "Farewell," directed at his reflection. In the place where Narcissus died, a beautiful flower, Narcissus, sprouted, symbolizing his tragic fate. This flower still serves as a reminder of how dangerous self-love can be when it exceeds all reasonable limits. The symbolism of the myth. The myth of Narcissus is deeply symbolic and conveys important moral lessons. The main theme is vanity and self-obsession. Narcissus became a victim of his beauty and egoism, rejecting everyone who tried to offer him love. He loved only himself, and this became the cause of his tragedy. The myth warns that excessive self-confidence and disregard for others' feelings can lead to loneliness and destruction. The myth of Narcissus can also be viewed as a cautionary tale against narcissism, which in modern psychology describes people with excessive self-love and a lack of empathy for others. Narcissism is not just a personality trait, but a mental disorder that leads to disrupted social connections and inner conflicts. Conclusion. The myth of Narcissus is a tragic story of self-love, vanity, and loneliness. This ancient Greek myth reminds us of the importance of maintaining a balance between self-love and respect for others. Vanity can destroy a person if they do not learn to see the world beyond their own reflection. The myth of Narcissus remains relevant today, serving as a warning of the dangers of excessive self-obsession. Thank you for watching to the end. If you enjoyed this story and want to learn more about Greek myths and much more, subscribe to our channel, like the video, and hit the bell so you don't miss new episodes. Leave your comments. What do you think about this story, and how can it be reflected in our modern society? See you next time.